From the Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Zahra Syed. Our top story tonight: Israel bombing has killed 29 United Nations personnel in Gaza. According to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, or the UNRWA, half of those killed were teachers. Thousands of people from Gaza have sought refuge in UNRWA facilities since Israel began its aerial bombardment. According to the agency, 12 displaced people were killed and nearly 180 wounded in UN-run schools. About 38 agency facilities were damaged. The UN agency said its workers grieve with each other and with the families. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said Hamas's attacks on Israel on October 7th did not take place in a vacuum. The UN Security Council considered the situation in the Middle East on Tuesday. Guterres told the council the Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of oppressive occupation. He said they have seen their land engulfed by settlements and plagued by violence, their economy suppressed, their people displaced, and their homes destroyed. He added that Palestinians' hope for a political solution to their plight is fading. Guterres noted the war in Gaza is intensifying and poses a potential threat to the entire region. The leader unequivocally condemned Hamas's attacks on Israel, but also pointed out the Palestinian people have been suffering for a long time. He also noted clear violations of international humanitarian law occurring in Gaza and stressed that no party involved in an armed conflict is above that law. Guterres spoke to the urgent need for continued aid deliveries and emphasized that United Nations fuel supplies in the region are nearly depleted. The UN chief maintained the only realistic basis for genuine peace and stability is a two-state solution. Israel was outraged by Guterres' remarks. UN envoy Gilad Erdan called them shocking and called for the Secretary General's resignation. Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen also canceled the meeting with Guterres. In related news, the Israeli army has rejected demands from a UN agency to allow fuel into the blockaded Gaza Strip. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari said fuel will not be allowed to enter Gaza. He said Hamas needs it for its operational infrastructure. The UN Palestinian Refugee Agency warned earlier its operations would stop in Gaza if fuel shipments are not allowed into the enclave. President Joe Biden said Tuesday humanitarian aid is not reaching residents of the besieged Gaza Strip fast enough. The UN said Monday only 4% of the aid is able to reach the coastal enclave. UN staff are sounding the alarm that fuel supplies will soon be exhausted. Enough fuel supplies are waiting to be loaded onto trucks and transported into Gaza through the Rafah border crossing into Egypt. The Palestinian Ministry of Health reports an exponential increase in the Gaza death toll as Israeli shelling intensifies. Around 200 casualties were recorded daily in the early days of the Israeli bombing campaign. Since then, the situation has escalated dramatically, with more than 700 people reported killed in the past 24 hours. Wednesday saw 44 massacres, resulting in the loss of 756 lives, including 344 children. A destroyed bakery in the Moghrabi refugee camp in Deir el-Balah faced another deadly blast. Initial Israeli airstrikes on the bakery and nearby houses killed at least 10 people. The bakery was the sole source of bread in the area and recently received flour from the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. 65% of those killed this week were in the southern part of Gaza, an area Israel claimed to be safe. Last week, Israel ordered more than 1.1 million residents in northern Gaza to evacuate to the south without any guarantee of return. Now, survivors who fled to the south are finding themselves under attack. The overall death toll in Gaza has reached at least 6,546, while more than 1,400 people have been killed in Israel since October 7th. In other developments, Hamas launched a rocket towards Eilat, a southern Israeli resort town on the Red Sea, though Israel's military reported no casualties. More than 50 Hollywood celebrities and prominent voices have united to demand President Joe Biden's intervention for a ceasefire in Gaza amidst escalating violence. Celebrities include Mahershala Ali, Riz Ahmed, Rami Youssef, Joaquin Phoenix, Kate Blanchett, and Jon Stewart. Palestinian Dutch supermodels Gigi and Bella Hadid have also used their platforms to advocate for Palestinian rights, openly condemning Israel's apartheid system. Their stance has led to reports of death threats. Early posts from celebrities like Gigi Hadid have faced criticism, with tensions rising as they assert that condemning the Israeli government is not synonymous with anti-Semitism. Swedish pop star Zahra Larsson sparked a debate when she questioned the international community's inconsistency in supporting different conflicts. Harry Potter star Emma Watson faced backlash when her pro-Palestinian post was labeled anti-Semitic. Notably, Susan Sarandon, Viola Davis, and Dua Lipa have also expressed their solidarity with Palestine. Israeli hostages' praise of Hamas sparks controversy. Details of the story comes after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. An elderly Israeli woman recently released from captivity by Hamas has drawn criticism in Israel for her praise of the group. At a news conference outside Tel Aviv's Ichilov Hospital, 85-year-old Yocheved Lifshitz expressed gratitude for the treatment she received during her 2-week captivity. She says Hamas provided her with medical care and secured her medication. Her release, along with another hostage, was on humanitarian grounds. She used to help sick Palestinians from Gaza to reach the Israeli hospitals before this conflict. Lifshitz's comments have triggered a controversy within Israel. Israeli media figures, including columnist Eddie Rothstein and reporter Daphna Leal, criticized her and the handling of the event. Rothstein called it a propaganda win for Hamas. Turkey reportedly asked top leaders of Hamas to leave the country. London-based online news website Middle East Eye reports the move came as a response to Hamas's political leader Ismail Haniyeh offering prayers of thanks on Hamas's attack. While most senior Hamas leaders have left Turkey, it remains uncertain whether Khalid Mashal, a former Hamas chief, is still there. The presence of Hamas leaders in Turkey has long been a contentious issue, particularly with Israel. Some Hamas leaders were originally sent to Turkey by Israel as part of a 2011 prisoner exchange. Turkish officials have denied asking Hamas leaders to leave, while sources suggest they left for other reasons. Sources within Hamas say the leaders left to supervise hostage negotiations and to attend various meetings. An Israeli professor blamed his country for dehumanizing Palestinians to legitimize its attacks on Gaza. Specialist in international law and human rights, Neve Gordon, says Israel is working towards justifying its war crimes in Gaza. Gordon, who teaches at Queen Mary University in London, says Israel's attacks on civilian areas, hospitals, medical personnel, and protected zones are widely regarded as war crimes. He also accused Israel of committing further war crimes by blocking access to electricity and water in Gaza. Gordon argues Israel portrays itself as a moral army that adheres to the laws of war while simultaneously dehumanizing Palestinians. He cites Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant's statements referring to the Palestinians as animals as an example of this dehumanization strategy. Gordon emphasizes the need to humanize the victims, pointing out the extreme imbalance in the conflict. He is calling on Western and international leaders to work towards the de-escalation and has urged the media to emphasize the humanity of those killed. He stresses that a ceasefire alone is insufficient and decolonization of the West Bank and Gaza must be addressed for a lasting solution. The Pentagon says US-led coalition forces faced 10 attacks in Iraq and 3 in Syria in the past 8 days. Pentagon spokesperson Patrick Ryder says the U.S. retains the right to self-defense and will respond at an appropriate time and place. He notes that these attacks were reported from October 17th to October 24th. Ryder attributes the attacks to groups supported by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and warned of the potential for escalation. In response to recent tensions, the U.S. has deployed a terminal high-altitude area defense battery and additional Patriot battle lines in the Middle East. Secretary of State Antony Blinken cautioned Iran against attacking American personnel during a UN Security Council session on Gaza, emphasizing a decisive U.S. response. House Republicans have elected Representative Mike Johnson as a new speaker, a major moment that comes 3 weeks after Kevin McCarthy's historic ouster. There were 220 votes for Johnson and 209 votes for Democrat Hakeem Jeffries. There was a unanimous GOP support behind Johnson. One Republican, Van Orden, was absent from the vote. Johnson has been a vocal supporter of former President Donald Trump and was a key congressional figure in the failed efforts to overturn the 2020 election. He was first elected to the House in 2016 and serves as vice chairman of the House Republican Conference, as well as GOP deputy whip and assistant leadership role. Former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, a key Trump administration figure, has testified in a case related to attempts to nullify the 2020 presidential election results. ABC News reports Meadows, who was granted immunity for his cooperation, testified that he repeatedly informed then-President Donald Trump his allegations of election fraud were unfounded. The timing of Meadows' immunity and grand jury appearances is not yet known. Media reports show Meadows appeared before the grand jury at least 3 times. Trump was indicted in August for, amongst other things, alleged conspiracy to defraud the United States resulting from that investigation. Meadows' cooperation with the special prosecutor's investigation is an important development. As one of Trump's closest advisors after the 2020 election, he had extensive knowledge of the events under investigation. Meadows could serve as an important witness against Trump in this case, given his proximity to efforts to nullify the election. That includes knowledge of fraudulent electoral votes and the pressure Trump put on then Vice President Mike Pence to stop the election results certification. Meadows was at the White House on January 6th when Trump was asked not to go to the Capitol. Trump has claimed some advisors believed in voter fraud, while others did not. Under the immunity agreement with prosecutors, any evidence Meadows provided to the grand jury cannot be used against him if he is indicted on federal charges. 41 U.S. states are jointly suing Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. Led by Colorado, Tennessee, and Massachusetts, 33 states have filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. They allege Meta violated consumer protection laws by intentionally designing its app with addictive features such as infinite scrolling and constant notification, specifically targeting children. 8 other states, along with the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., have filed a similar lawsuit seeking an injunction to compel Meta to cease using such features. Meta faced criticism after former employee Frances Haugen leaked company documents in 2021. They revealed the company's knowledge that its products could negatively affect teenagers' mental health. One of the lawsuits filed Tuesday notes that since 2021, Meta deceptively represented that its features were not manipulative. The states have sued Meta under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and consumer protection laws. Meta is citing Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act and the First Amendment as protection against liability for content on its platform. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.